For those that is watching, let's see. I'm gonna get into a quick lesson. Um, Actually, this video, I'm actually going to a reply of to the beloved brother of the Church of Sparta. I believe his name is Brother Gamar. All right, good, beloved, sincere brother. All right, to let the brothers know that the importance of brotherhood. Okay, on how when we don't have the brotherhood, we get less on fire and we get so caught up in our minds to where we can fall, due to certain circumstances in life, um, on how important the brotherhood can help keep us upholded. Okay, so we can't think that we could do this thing alone. All right, we can't. The scripture says we can. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Let's see. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 9. So it reads, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he has not another to help him up. Okay? So that's exactly what happens. All right? That's exactly what happens. So, um, yeah, that's why brotherhood is important. That's why, even Yahweh Shai, he had the disciples. Okay? He had the disciples with him, um, to give him an example of how important the brotherhood is. All right, and he explained it just right here in Ecclesiastes, and I'm gonna keep reading on. Verse 11 again: if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? Okay, so how can one be alone, warm alone? All right, when you come across these diverse temptations, um, you know you have all kind of diverse temptations out there. You got slothfulness. Okay, a lot of times in my case, trying to pay bills or find somewhere to live or find somewhere to sleep, a lot of brothers fall off the truth that way. All right, going through their trials and end up homeless. And but just like the brother he made a lesson recently. We got to bounce back. Okay, all right, sometimes we come across trials and tribulations, and those things, to teach us maybe patience, to basically teach us things. All right, the things that we learned in the scriptures, and apply it once we get set in those circumstances. Okay, to have our faith tested, that Yahweh Shem Shai is going to be there with us through it all. All right, so from there I'm gonna go to Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 25. Hebrews 10 verse 25. All right. All right, the book of Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25, it reads, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, as so much the more as ye see the day approaching. Okay, so I really appreciate the rebuke that the brother had gave me, because what that is that's exhorting one another to keep to keep putting out videos. Okay, because I'm not even gonna lie, and I have witnesses for this. For 6 months I was out there holding camp. No, about 7 months I was out there holding camp with the brothers without recording or putting videos. Okay, so what the hell is that? Okay, not putting nothing up, not sending them out with flyers, basically kind of wasting my oil. And I was telling the brother as well, we got to put videos up and we're wasting oil. Okay, but yet we still have more sharpening to do. All right, and before that, I was alone. I didn't know anyone coming out of IUIC. um Brothers weren't hip to the doctrine, the original doctrine that was taught by our elders. Okay, so I admit to my faults. Okay, and part of the brotherhood, not having brotherhood, was a big part of it as well. Okay, so for you brothers out there that may be struggling, or maybe in that same situation, just know, brotherhood is important. And I mean, you're not alone if you fell off. You know, the scripture says two is better than one. It's bound to happen. You know, if you don't have no brotherhood, it's bound to happen. Okay, so let's go to the book of Hebrews. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 1. It says, let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. Okay, so let brotherly love continue. All right, so that's, you know, we have to stay within the brotherhood. All right, okay, let's go to Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 8. Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 8. So it says, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Why? Because when you're impoverished, you're so busy trying to find somewhere to live, trying to find somewhere to sleep at night. I've been there, you know. When you have riches, you're focused on trying to fulfill the lust of the flesh, or you're trying to find time to fulfill making more money from that money, investing in the things of the world. All right, I'm gonna read it again. Actually, I'm gonna start with verse 7. Proverbs 30 verse 7. Two things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. So he's given a request. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Okay, so we want to stay in the middle, our daily bread. You know, we got to be thankful we're kind of barely making it by, you know, bill by bill. Because imagine, say you have a lust for a certain thing and you got the extra money to fulfill that lust. There goes your way of destruction. So it's good that we barely make it by. Okay. And not even poverty too, because we're going to focus all that time to try to find somewhere to sleep at night, somewhere to eat. You know, it's horrible. I've been there recently, last year, and I'm barely getting on my feet. Okay. To now where he has me to where I'm barely making the bills. All right. Verse 9, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. Okay, so we got to pray for the Lord to keep us in a position, man. Just like David, how he prayed for the Lord to make him white, make him clean. We got to pray for the Lord to put us in a position, you know, which man's goings is of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? You know, Judas was chosen to be with the 12, but also chosen to be the betrayer so he can fulfill that prophecy. Okay. And that's where that's on a different lesson, you know, prophecy, on how everything falls under the lot of prophecy, you know, in this Bible. Everything falls under the lot of prophecy in this Bible. All right. So that's how we're all prisoners of hope, man. Just like Paul said, we're all prisoners of hope. Okay. He will have mercy on whom he will have mercy on. All right. So the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. Proverbs 27 and verse 17. It reads, iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Okay, we're supposed to rebuke one another. Because there's things that we see in other brothers that he doesn't see in himself. There's things brothers see in me that I don't see in myself that I need to sharpen up. And we need to be humble about these things. We can't be like, oh, nah, brother, I got it all together. Nah. That's the way of destruction. You know, the scripture, Galatians 6:3, when a man thinks he's something when he is nothing, he only deceives himself. So we always got to constantly be subject to one another. We got to see Yahawashi in each and every one of us. Okay. All right. So whenever correction comes, just tell your mind that's Yahawashi. Okay. That's the spirit of Yahawashi that's in that brother to correct me and not get offended from it. Okay. We're not supposed to get offended from it, but be humble about it and keep it pushing, man. Okay. He that saves his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. So when correction comes, Nah, get rid of that pride. Okay? Get rid of that pride. All right? Proverbs 27:5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. Okay? So, you know, that's saving us from destruction. All right? That's saving us from destruction. Okay, Matthew 11 and verse 6. All right. Actually, I'm going to close it out with this one. Just a quick little lesson. The book of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 6. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. All right. So when you have another brother correcting you, that's Yahweh Shai. All right. He's correcting you through the scriptures. Blessed is he who shall not be offended in me. All right. Israel was quick to get offended, quick to get emotional. All right. But this thing is far beyond emotions, because the destruction that's about to come is very horrible, you know. So it's worth not getting offended. It's very worth not getting offended when we get corrected by another brother. That's Yahweh Shai speaking to us through that brother. I'm going to read it again. The book of Matthew, chapter 11 and verse 6. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Okay. All right. So with that, you know, yeah, man, we're all prisoners of hope. We're closing in on this thing. And for you brothers that's alone out there, just know that the brotherhood is very important, because you will fall. I'm an example of this. All right. I'm an example of this. Okay. Brothers had their own little trials. One went homeless. Okay. One went this way, one went that way. And it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. All right. And that's the reason why recently it just came to my understanding on how important it is to do live lessons, to stay interacted with the brothers online, comment on different channels, keep making videos. All right. Don't just go out there and teach. No, record that shit, because the majority of the heavy lifting is going to be on the internet. The majority of the gathering is going to be from the internet. I learned from the internet, you know. That was how this truth gathered me, was through the internet. All right. It wasn't because I ran across a camp physically. Okay. So you brothers that have little understanding, whatever the little understanding you do have, just feed the sheep with that as well. Okay. So I'm just letting you know from my mistakes. All right. But yeah, this internet thing is very essential for feeding the sheep, recording your lessons. All right. But with that, you know, for any sheep out there, I hope this was edifying. And with that, I want to say shalom.